What white Americans have never fully understood, but what the Negro can never forget, is that white society is deeply implicated in the ghetto. White institutions created it, white institutions maintain it, and white society condones it. Now, this was 1968. I think it's really important that everybody knows that sane people know that everybody really isn't racist. But we've come up in a society that, for all kinds of reasons, makes it easier sometimes for people to be. So I try really hard not to say all and every.
So welcome everybody to the first time that No New Jim Crow and the African American Writers Alliance have come together for an evening. I'm Mary Peterson with No New Jim Crow Seattle Campaign. We are an organization that's pretty young, that is, we're about 3 years old. And we were named after that book by Michelle Alexander, which is about 4 or 5 years old now, this book. And it turned the lights on for a lot of us who didn't know that the pattern of jails and prisons and mass incarceration in our country, especially since around 1980, has recreated the old Jim Crow, especially because not only the numbers of people going into prison, especially hard hit are African American men, and not only the numbers have, as everybody knows, have skyrocketed since 1980. When you see the graph of it, it goes like this and then it goes boom, like that. Not only that, but when people come out of jails and prisons, or even sometimes when they have any kind of record at all, an arrest record but not a conviction record, they can be barred from jobs, housing, educational loans, getting the right to vote back is hard, even though in Washington State, for example, people who come out of jails and prisons have the right to vote. You have to know that and get it back, or to sign a petition, or to stay with family members or friends who have subsidized housing. It's doors are closed at every turn, and that's why Michelle Alexander called it a new Jim Crow, calls the system of mass incarceration and everything after the new Jim Crow. And one of the profound things she says in that book is that even if we succeeded in ending mass incarceration, even if we were able to deflate that monster or take away the industry that's become prison industrial complex, even if we were able to dismantle that, she said it would be great, but it wouldn't be enough. Because she said what we really need to do is finally, for the first time in our country, end racism and oppression, systems of control, systems of dominance. And that's the task, really, because if we don't do that, then slavery, the old Jim Crow, the new Jim Crow, just in Michelle Alexander's view, they just come, they rise again in some other form, which we didn't anticipate. Hi, Paul and Kayla. Hello. So welcome on behalf of No New Jim Crow to this evening of poetry and reflection. And without further ado, I hand it over to Georgia McDade and the African American Writers Alliance.
139 rounds spent. 13 officers fired shots, 49 rounds. One officer fired 49 rounds. 15 rounds fired standing on the top of the hood of the car. 15 rounds into two persons sitting in the front seat. Two unarmed persons. Add the numbers. Here's the total, bottom line as it really was. Judge says homicide justified. Car backfired. Police don't know backfiring from gunshots. Police didn't know car occupants aren't armed. Police were protecting themselves. Police were afraid for their lives. Police were protecting the public. The public is in trouble.
That's protection, don't bother.
I have one, I don't know about reading. I have a poem about John Williams. You remember him? Isn't it so awful that we know these names, you know? But I may read that one tonight. But soon after that, when I wrote this one in, July of 2013, and I call it Afraid for My Life, because that's what the police always say, that they were afraid for their lives. And if I tell you I'm afraid for my life, then who are you to say, no, you weren't? And so they say that. It seems to me that every time they found not guilty or the shooting, what they say, what it is justifiable, then that's what they say. So I wrote this one poem, Afraid for My Life. And then I had to go back and say part one, Afraid for My Life. I don't doubt a person who says, I was afraid for my life. But I sometimes ask, why the fear? Did the feared person do something, say something, hear something, see something, get something? Was something done to this feared person? Why be afraid? Was what makes the survivor fear possibly the same fear in the dead? Police almost always say they fear for their lives after they shot a person. The unarmed and or mentally ill, young and old included. Does anyone count how often the dead suspect was unarmed? How often were the victims mentally ill? Did they harm the wrong person or person not guilty? How many of the dead are dead because they feared for their lives? Had good reasons to fear and should have feared for their lives. Of course, their physical lives. But what of their mental, emotional, economical lives? What of their medical lives? What role did these lives play in the killers arriving at this point? Most, if not all of these questions go unanswered. Speculation usually rules here. Accuracy is often on holiday. No one may speak for the killed, but the possibility exists that the killed may indeed have rightly feared for their lives.
Parallels. Here we are, side by side, in cubicles, at the grocery store, on the bus, at the theater, dinner parties, board meetings. If you see me at all, and you seldom do, it's to dismiss my presence as inconsequential. No threat to your future. Equality, not a problem. But my fight for parity is over. I don't want to be your equal. And I don't want to pretend anymore that you are mine. Some days, I want to admit that I'm better than you are. A better poet, a better database developer, a better listener, a better public speaker. Some days, I just want to celebrate winning at Scrabble without using a dictionary, or solving the problem you struggled with for years, or creating a new vision that you never dreamed of. Some days, I want to stand on the highest hill and say that was my idea. I solved that problem. I created that new thing. And then, I want to sit back and smile, because while you were driving down life's highway with your self-satisfied sneer at not seeing me in your rearview mirror, I had landed on the moon. Sorry. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm going to sound kind of weird, but oh well. Prisoners of war. fighting, fleeing, struggling, chained, dragged, transported, starving, working, dying, working, dying, working, dying, working, dreaming, dying, dreaming, hoping, working, dying, mama, daddy, baby girl, son, grandmama, papa, uncle, auntie, sister, brother, 10 generations. Foreign bellies filled by your hands, foreign soil shoveled on your bones, foreign hands pick your daisies, skyscrapers become your headstones, and the man and his woman say they owe you no apology, your children no recompense. It's the debt-free American dream. This poem is the one you asked me to read, which I wrote in 1993. Why are they so angry? When my children's death by pollution matters more to you than your job, your property value, your stock profits, or your new home gadget, then I will trust you. When you care enough about the quality of my brothers and sisters' lives, that the salaries you pay them enable them to live lives of dignity, then I will trust you. When you elect public officials from your neighborhood who care enough about the quality of my life to never sacrifice my health and safety in order to ensure yours, then I will trust you. When you love and respect me enough to say no to the lies perpetuated by the media, your coworkers, family, and friends, then I will trust you. When you bring to trial and severely punish those individuals and organizations who have murdered and terrorized my children and my community, then I will trust you. When you stop using me as an excuse to keep from confronting your own nightmares and fears, then I will trust you. When you tell your brothers, sisters, mother, father, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, neighbors, coworkers, in-laws, friends, that you will not cover for their dirty little racist secrets, then I will trust you. When my brother, father, uncle, son, nephew, or lover can walk through your neighborhood at night without fearing your fear, then I will trust you. When research and treatment for my diseases are funded as fully as yours, then I will trust you. Until then, my anger will remain in place, so don't be surprised by it.